Knicks facing long odds going into Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals in Indiana. Teams that go down 0-2 in the Eastern. Let me do it one more time. 3, 2. Knicks are facing some long odds, down 0-2 in the Eastern Conference Finals heading into Game 3 in Indiana. Teams that fall behind 0-2 in a conference final are 6-76 for the series. And so Knicks facing some long odds, and really, you don't expect this Knicks team at this point to make a full comeback, but I think what you're looking at here is you're evaluating the moves made to this point, because the Knicks made these moves to compete for a championship, and they had a road here where there was a clear path to the finals and maybe even a title the way they were playing against Boston, and that's kind of all crumbled here. And so I think you're going to evaluate the Karl Anthony Towns trade. You're going to evaluate the Mikal Bridges trade. You're going to evaluate Tom Thibodeau if things don't turn around in this series, because you're going to ask yourself after the year, what do we have to do to win a championship? What do we have to do to compete at a championship level? And at this point, this team has not shown you that it can do that, falling behind 0-2 to an Indiana team that it was favored against. Now, I don't want to take anything away from the Pacers, but these two games the Knicks have lost have revealed a lot of structural flaws for this team. Rebounding, starting five, offense became plodding compared to the Pacers. High-paced, movement-based offense, Knicks plotting, Knicks not having a lot of player movement, ball movement, and so it's been a struggle, and it's really exposed some things with this roster that if the Knicks get swept or they get embarrassed in 5 games here, there's going to be a lot of questions to ask and to be answered by management based on how this season will have finished.
Let's do the numbers game as we welcome in Jonathan Macri of Knicks Film School. Our first number, my friend, 425. That's how many points Jalen Brunson has scored this postseason. Most in the league. Brunson putting up historic numbers and yet down 0-2. So what does that say about the supporting cast?
It says they're not doing good enough, and the guy I'm looking at is Karl Anthony Towns. You know, he's been okay offensively in this postseason so far. In Game 2 against Indiana, he had 20 points on 14 shots. That was fine. But fine and just okay are not going to cut it, not when you're making over $50 million a year, and not when you are giving traffic cones a bad name on the defensive end. Karl Anthony Towns is the guy that I think more than anyone else needs to pick up the slack to help out his starting point guard.
That is quite the statement right there. No kidding. Our next number, minus 50. The Knicks starters have a plus-minus of minus 50 this postseason. Ian Begley said Saturday night Knicks are considering moving Mitchell Robinson into the starting lineup over Josh Hart. Would you like to see that move come to fruition?
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it's the obvious move. Since the beginning of the Boston series, Mitchell Robinson is a team high plus 52. Josh Hart, a team worst minus 31. I think from that perspective, it makes sense. Defensively, Mitchell Robinson's obviously been very good. The two questions that I have about this one, number one, for Tom Thibodeau, is this too little too late? Is this something that he should have done at halftime of Game 2, maybe even before Game 2? And then the other thing, what's his plan to have these two big guys out, Mitch and Towns, on the floor at the same time against a Pacer defense that passes the ball a lot? Can they keep up with that ball movement and that speed?
Our last number is 6, as Begley mentioned earlier. Teams that fall behind 0-2 in the conference finals are 6-76 all-time. Morale understandably low, but how can the Knicks flip the script on the Pacers as the series shifts to a very tough home environment in Indiana?
One word, defense. They have scored more than enough to win these games. At the very least, they scored more than enough to win Game 1. They have given up an average of 126 points over these 2 games. There have been times where this Indiana Pacers team looks like it is not even breaking a sweat on defense. Not only Karl Anthony Towns, I mentioned before us to pick it up, but we're supposed to have Wingstop here. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart. I need the 3 of you guys to show up, live up to the reputation of your name, and get some splash plays to get the offense going back in the other end for some transition buckets for the Knicks.
Speaking of reputation of name, I'm inherently biased towards Jonathan's on Honda SportsNite, just saying. Appreciate you hanging out. Thanks so much for your time.